Welcome to New Haven Communications. My name is Thomas Maynard, and today we are going to be joined by a guest speaker, Rebecca Sattel, who is going to be taking us on a short tour of the Marble House, which is located in Newport, Rhode Island.
Thank you, Thomas, and welcome to Marble House. This Gilded-era summer cottage was built between 1888 and 1892 as a 39th birthday present for Alva Vanderbilt by her husband, William Kissam Vanderbilt. Mrs. Vanderbilt sold the house to Frederick H. Prince in 1932. The Preservation Society acquired the house in 1963 from the Prince estate. Luckily for you, our visit coincides with the Christmas season, and the mansion is very festive. We enter the mansion through one of two French Baroque-style doors, each weighing 1.5 tons. Both are embellished by the monogram WV set into an oval medallion. Off to the left of the entryway is the first room on our tour. Keep in mind throughout the tour that most of these summer cottages were only occupied for 6 weeks in the summer. So although you will see Christmas decorations everywhere, the house was not occupied during the Christmas season. This is the dining room. The walls are made of rose-colored marble imported from Algeria. The chairs are made of bronze and covered in gold with silk-cut velvet upholstery. The side chairs weigh approximately 75 pounds, and the armchairs about 100 pounds. This room also houses Mrs. Vanderbilt's collection of French court portraits. Now we are in the library. Mrs. Vanderbilt used this space as a library and morning room. The books include works on architecture, landscape design, furniture, and European history, and are original to the Vanderbilt collection. The portrait between the windows is of the Vanderbilt's youngest son, Harold Sterling Vanderbilt, at the age of 3, and was painted by French portraitist Charles Chaplin in 1887. William K. and Alva had 3 children, Consuelo, William K. Jr., and Harold. Known as the Gothic room, this room reflects the flamboyant Gothic style that was popular in France at the time. The fireplace is inspired by the chimney at the chateau of Jacques Coeur, the finance minister to the French king in the 1400s. The rib ceiling is decorated in Renaissance style, floral and vinyl patterns in gold on a blue-green background, surrounded by the cornice composed of a choir of angels and even more sea creatures. The windows contain stained glass inspired by pieces from the Middle Ages. The Grand Salon, or Gold Room, as it is also called, served as a formal salon and ballroom. The decorative elements, like images of Louis XIV as the Sun King, are borrowed from the French royal palace of Versailles and the Louvre. The panels on the walls depict images from classical Roman and Greek mythology, with Hercules, Aphrodite, Poseidon, and Demeter representing wealth, strength, and beauty. These panels are framed with the Vanderbilt family symbol of the acorn and oak leaf, which stands for strength and longevity, and which you will see throughout the house. You arrive at the mezzanine by traveling up the staircase. On either side are 2 glass-fronted rooms, which were furnished as private studies for Mr. and Mrs. Vanderbilt, but possibly they were used as cloakrooms for party guests. Mr. Vanderbilt's study is on the left as you arrive at the mezzanine. The room is upholstered in red silk, containing paintings of his prized racehorses. Mr. Vanderbilt was famous for his horses both in America and in France. To the right is Mrs. Vanderbilt's study. The room is decorated in the style of a Louis XV period cabinet, a small room where ladies received guests and displayed porcelain, rare stone carvings, and other precious decorative objects. This room reflects the French Rococo style popular during the 18th century. Consuelo Vanderbilt was the eldest of the 3 children and was 15 years old when she first moved to Marble House. She was known for her delicate beauty and long, swan-like neck. Consuelo married Charles Sonny Spencer Churchill, the 9th Duke of Marlborough, in 1895. The marriage, arranged by Alva, was an early example of the many marriage alliances between wealthy American families and their aristocratic houses of Great Britain and Europe at the turn of the 20th century. Next to the dressing table, there is a photo of Consuelo dressed for the coronation of King Edward VII in 1902. This room was originally 2 back-to-back dressing rooms for Alva and Consuelo. When Frederick H. Prince bought the house in 1932, he had the rooms converted into a master bedroom, decorated in the American Federal Revival style, popular in the 1930s. Today, the Preservation Society uses this room to display its collection of Harold Sterling Vanderbilt's sailing memorabilia. The bedroom of Alva Vanderbilt is decorated in the Louis XIV style, with lilac silk wall hangings decorated with drapery and architectural motifs. The ceiling painting is of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war, by the 18th century Venetian artist Pellegrini. William Vanderbilt was among the most educated, cultured, and refined gentlemen of his era and spoke fluent French. His bedroom is decorated in the French neoclassical style with green gold silk wall coverings and Louis XVI style furniture. Mr. Vanderbilt was a benefactor of New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art and one of the founding patrons of the Metropolitan Opera House when it was built in the late 19th century. He became head of the Vanderbilt family when his older brother Cornelius died in 1899. This is painted on this door. You'll see it's painted to look like the marble that's out in the hallway, so that when you close the door, it appeared like the marble was just one continuous piece, but it's really painted on. The Duke of Marlborough, Charles Spencer Churchill, stayed in this room, which connects to the guest sitting room and a private bathroom. Designed by Jules Allard, the silk wall fabric and walnut furniture are in the Louis XV style. Moving downstairs, we are now at the service entrance, an area of the home that most visitors never saw. During Newport's summer season, tradesmen delivered wine, flowers, and groceries through this entrance throughout the day. The bars were locked during the day as a security measure. Ice was among the deliveries made to Marble House. On the wall is a pair of ice tongs used to pick up the blocks of ice. They stacked the blocks in the wood-lined ice room, packing them in sawdust so they wouldn't stick to each other. The fancy ice desserts popular in the Gilded Age were an expensive luxury and required chilling. The staff made the family's ice by cutting blocks from the frozen ponds at their farm in nearby Portsmouth, which supplied ice to all the Vanderbilt homes in Newport. When Marble House opened for the summer season, the ice traveled 10 miles on horse-drawn carts to this service entrance. On display in the scullery cabinets are the Vanderbilt family china service, which has a maroon border and was made by Minton. Additionally, there are pieces of the Votes for Women china used for Alva's suffrage rallies and teas at Marble House in the early 1900s. Next to the cabinet is a small office. This space was used by the butler and contains receipts for household items from the 1890s. The cast iron hot water heater is original to the house, and to its left is a gauge for the water cisterns in the attic. The last room on our tour is the kitchen, which was central to life at Marble House, producing luncheons, picnics, tea dances, and dinner parties, as well as the daily meals for the family and the household staff of 23 people. A French chef and 6 helpers supervised all of the workings in this room. The coal-fired stove was made in New York. Coal was stored at the left. There are 4 ovens and a broiler on the right. The cabinet contains an assortment of molds for ice cream, pastries, aspic, and other elaborate 19th century dishes. If you are a fan of HBO's The Gilded Age, you may recognize this kitchen from the scene where Mrs. Russell escapes from Mrs. Astor's Beechwood.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and please feel free to look at the links in the description for more information about the Marble House, and make sure to like and subscribe and join us for more videos on New Haven Communications. Have a good day.